Good afternoon. On behalf of the Mayor and Council, we would like to welcome you to this longevity recognition ceremony. Unfortunately, today we lost a member of our city staff. Many of you know Mr. Washington over in Sanitation Department, better known as Woody. Lemuel had a fight with a disease for a while, and unfortunately he succumbed to that disease this morning. Let us take a moment of silence in support of his family and in remembrance of Lemuel. Thank you. We come on a joyous day to recognize 91 city employees who have chosen to give their employment time to this city. Service to others before self is one of the greatest callings anyone can have. We appreciate the fact that you have come today to be recognized. Many of you have come to support those who are being recognized. Because we are a working government that's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, many of the people who are going to be called this evening are not actually here because they're out providing service to the citizens of this community. However, we have a great representation of those who are here. We'll be recognizing folks in various categories: 5 years, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. It's pretty amazing when you realize that just in this 1 year, we're recognizing almost 20% of the employees of the city for achieving a specific milestone. What's also amazing is when you look at all of the city employees who have been with us 5 years or longer, that represents over 70% of our total workforce. Now that's certainly a compliment to the mayor and council for the quality that they give us, but it's also a compliment to each of you because you are the ones who make the daily work a joy rather than a drudgery. It's your camaraderie with your fellow employee that makes the job either a good job or a not so good job. So I would tell you that on behalf of the management and the mayor and council, we thank you for making the Jacksonville workplace a wonderful place that people want to work, live, and raise their families. Tonight we're going to do a number of things with the mayor and council, and we encourage those who have photographers with them, whether the photographer's 3-year-old granddaughter or whether it's someone else that you've brought, feel free to come up and take pictures. At this time, I'd like to ask Mayor Sammy Phillips and also council members Warden and Thomas if they would come down for the 5-year recognition group. When your name is called, if you will please come down and remain down here so that we can take photographs as a group. Some of the names that I will call may be here, some may not, so I apologize if I call a name that is not here. As we call the names, feel free just to come up. First is Reddy Asa. He is in our IT department. We have Anthony Baker, Scott Brown, Christopher Contreras in IT. Is Chris here? Christopher Funk, I believe he's here. Okay, come on. Police Department. Now I know after 5 years of being wearing the blue, you recognize that was Police Department uniform, so that's good, very good. So, also Lily Gray, Tracy Jackson, Daniel Karate, Charles Sutton, Michael Whaley. Now, Big Mike is responsible for protecting us from mosquitoes. He gives of himself every night to make sure that none of the rest of us have to give. So, Mike, we appreciate that. Also joining this group is a person I depend upon very heavily every day, the Deputy Manager, Ron Massey. And then also this evening, Councilmember Randy Thomas. The following names I would like to call in case we miss them on the check-in list. Anthony Baker, Scott Brown, Brent Cook, Timothy Ewing, Heather Herman, Mark Holden, William Horn, James Keller, Jason Lagana, Spencer Lee, Jesse Liable, David Livingston, Christopher Mickey, Christopher Moore, Roland Oliver, Brian Parker, Gertrude Trudy. I'm just going to call you Trudy. Mary Rhodes, Herbert Ragelsberger. That wasn't even close on that name, but it's good. Timothy Rivers, Joseph Scott, David Slater, Tara Smallwood, Vanessa Smith, Christy Smith, Tori Strickland, Nicholas Strong, Priscilla Till. These are your 5-year group. Looking back at the history, I asked one of the secretaries, one of the deputy clerks today to look up some facts that happened 5 years ago. So Carolyn is responsible. Carolyn, stand up. I'm going to embarrass you. These are things that Carolyn said happened 5 years ago. Mr. Thomas, you're the finance guru of the city council, so tell me, 5 years ago, how much did a gallon of gas cost?
It was expensive.
It was expensive. You're correct. The answer was $3.39. Now, guess what, folks? It's $3.14 on the marquee right now. So apparently things have gotten a little bit better. Another thing, anybody here baseball fans? Okay, who do you pull for?
Cincinnati Reds.
Cincinnati Reds. Well, they haven't been in the World Series in quite a while, but we'll use them anyway. Do you know who won the World Series 5 years ago? You're right. It wasn't the Cincinnati Reds. It was the Philadelphia Phillies. So at least it was a National League team. The Summer Olympics were held in China, and we had our first African-American president, Barack Obama, elected. That's what happened 5 years ago. Now, there are many other things that I can tell you happened 5 years ago in the city's life and in the service life of these folks. What I can tell you is these folks and their counterparts have delivered great service. Please join me in recognizing them. Now it's picture time. Women in front, ladies behind. I'm sorry, women in front, gentlemen behind. Form 2 lines. You know how it is, military. Let's go, let's go. Big Mike, drop in here. Let's go, guys. You got to squeeze it down.
Mr. Mayor, if you can scoot in just a little bit, please, and stand south.
She's back 5 years.
Thank you.
Any other photos? Okay, thank you very much. For our 10-year group, I'd like to ask the mayor and Mr. Willingham to come down to recognize these folks, if you would, please. We have 14 persons we're recognizing this evening who've been here for 10 years. Jason Abelos. Jason, saw you come in. Did you bring the big red truck? Okay. It's parked out there. Congratulations. Good to see you today. Susan Baptist, I don't believe is able to be with us this evening in recreation. Melinda Barrage, here she comes. Melinda, you look beautiful in your green today. Thank you so much for your service. James Berthay in sanitation. Now, this is a name that the first time I saw it come up on the email, I had no clue who he was because all of us know him as JoJo. But apparently his birth certificate has Aldrino Carrioso. Carrioso. Well, we know him as JoJo. JoJo, thanks for what you do for us. The other thing, if you haven't seen JoJo's son, there's no getting around. That's definitely his father and definitely his son. So, also, Joseph Cram, Douglas Crane, Pat Donovan Potts in stormwater management. Pat, thank you very much. Greg Grantham. Wally Hanson. Garland Neely. Daniel Wells. Now you notice when you've been here 10 years, you don't have to stand up and say, I'm in the police department, because you understand people recognize the uniform. Okay. Charles Will. And then another member of the senior staff that we depend upon in many ways to give advice to the mayor and council and give advice to all of us, that's John Carter, city attorney. Thank you, John. 10 years ago, we'll ask Mr. Thomas the same question, even though he's now seated so he can use his iPad to figure this one out. Mr. Thomas, how much was a gallon of gas in 2003?
$1.78.
He only missed it by 5 cents. It was $1.83. So, you know, if you don't think he studies these budgets, folks, I'm telling you, you know. I mean, when Kerry talks about getting a particular tire for the garbage truck, he wants to know how many, you know, treads are left on the other one. So $1.83 was the gas. Anybody here a baseball fan? JoJo, you're in charge of baseball tonight. You know who won the World Series in 2003? Yeah, you can. Again, it was not Cincinnati Reds, okay? Amazingly enough, it was the Florida Marlins. And, of course, the next week they sold off all their teams, so they haven't played in the World Series since. Another important thing, though, in the nation's history was in 2003 was the year that the United States 4th Infantry Division captured Saddam Hussein, the president of Iraq. JoJo, there he is, the man. Another interesting thing in history was that was the year that Americans changed the name from hamburger and French fries to hamburger and what? Freedom fries, that's for sure. Arnold Schwarzenegger was elected as governor of what state? California. And he's now on his 18th movie, so, you know, he decided being in the movies was better than political career. And guess who celebrated their 100th year's birthday in the motorcycle building group in 2003? Let's all together. Harley Davidson. Good. 100-year anniversary. Folks, you've given a decade of your time to serving the citizens of this community. It's a time that goes by faster than any of us ever recognized. I know you can look back on your life and realize that even though you're only 25, that 10 years of that was spent right here. On behalf of the citizens and the mayor and council, thank you for your service.
Slide in here. Mr. Whitman wants you to disclosure. Ms. Beers, your father, you were there.
Thank you all very much. For the 15-year group, I'd like to ask the mayor and Mr. Bittner if they would come down. We have 14 individuals who are being recognized tonight in the 15-year group. They are Henry Carter, Norman Davis, John Gerhardt, Charles James, Tomos, or as most of us know him, Tommy Jimenez. Tommy, there you are. Good to see you. Delisa Johnson, Sayoko Knox, Gail Maids, Gail told me if I didn't embarrass her, she'd give me an extra $1 million I could spend out of the budget this year. Of course, she also told me the mayor and council did not approve that, so. Okay. David Milter, Randy Nordstrom. Now, many of you know we're having a walking contest here as part of our wellness. Randy is my partner in this walking group. I'm going to tell you, over the last 5 weeks, Randy has walked almost 500,000 steps on his way to Washington, D.C. So great job. Great job. Ashley Weaver, Ross Whitmore, sorry. Okay. And then we have two people that work in our area upstairs that are absolutely essential. Carmen Miracle, the city clerk, and Glenn Hargett, the assistant manager. Thank you for what you do. Now, Carmen swears that she was only in high school when this occurred 15 years ago, 1998. And I'm going to ask, of course, Mr. Thomas, here we go again. How much was a gallon of gas in 1998?
$1, that's my final answer.
And again, he was awfully close, $1.15. So that's not bad. Now,
I remember.
here's an easy one for those of you who have ever been in my office and looked at the pictures on the wall. You know what baseball team I pull for. So who won the World Series in 1998? The bad guys. And who are they? The New York Yankees. Go Yankees. Okay. Also, the Winter Olympics were held in Japan. And here's one for you IT folks. Have you ever Googled? I don't know how to do that. That's beyond my pay grade. But if you've ever Googled, Google search engine was founded in 1998. It's pretty amazing. Think about how it has changed our lives in just 15 years. The other thing, think about the lives that these folks have changed in the 15 years of service that they have given. Thank you each for what you've done. Thank you all very much. For the 20-year group, I'd like to ask the mayor and the mayor pro tem to come down and recognize this group. There are 15 people who are recognized for 20 years of service with the city. Out of the fire department, a gentleman that I've come to really respect and get to know, and I appreciate the hard work and leadership that he gives. Jerry Hardison, if you'd come down, please, Battalion Chief. This gentleman was, you got to turn around here and talk to me just a second, okay. This gentleman was one of the lead people in the certification process that the fire department just went through. I believe there are, 4 cities in the state of North Carolina?
17.
Well, that's close to 4. Okay. You can see why Gail doesn't let me do math. You know? Okay. But there's 17 in the state, and how many are there in the entire United States?
In the world, there's 167.
In the world, there are 167. And the city of Jacksonville now has a certified, credentialed fire department because of all these fire personnel, but the hard work of filling out the paperwork and all those things, it fell on 1 or 2 people. You were one of them. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Cindy Bell is over in the police department. Cindy is not with us this evening. David Brown, William Brown, Danny Bryan, now, William, you can bring that good-looking granddaughter of yours up here if you like. Okay, that works for us. Leon Bryan, Jamie Garcia, Lance Greenwood, Stephen Jones, Elwood Lee, David Lowe, Lieutenant Sean McGill. Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. Walter Marshall. Diane Mason. Jerry Pennington. Thank you very much for what you do. Appreciate it. 20 years ago was 1993. And of course, the question of the night is still
$1.25.
$1.16. You're correct. Now, I'm going to give you a hint, baseball fans. This is the American Legion team that plays from Canada. So who is it that won the World Series that year? And no, Boston is not in Canada. Okay.
2004, 2007.
Toronto Blue Jays, 1993 World Series champions. Here's an interesting one for some of you who have grandchildren or younger children. The Beanie Baby was introduced in 1993. I know several people who invested all their money thinking that would be part of their retirement plan. I hope none of the city employees did that. I see Lily over here shaking her head. She owns some of those. Okay. And another thing, World Wide Web was born 20 years ago. That's amazing. The World Wide Web has only been with us 20 years, and now we don't know how to do without it. So, 20 years of service, 2 decades. Think of the lives you have touched. Think of the changes in the world. 1993, that was obviously before the attack on the World Trade Center. The amazing things that you have done in this community in 20 years. You have given, in most of you, you have given at least a third of your lives to serving the citizens of Jacksonville. On behalf of them and the mayor and council, we sincerely thank you. I can say ladies in front, but, you know, that wouldn't necessarily work. Form 2 lines, man. Form 2 lines. We'll get the best looking ones up front. Let's go. Come on. Thank you very much. For the next 2 groups, I'm going to ask all of the council members to come down and stand as we recognize these employees. So if you would, please. We have 8 persons being recognized tonight in the 25-year category. If you think about it, 25 is one of those numbers that is almost a magical day. I can remember when I turned 25 years old. That was 25 years ago, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay. But, that's a quarter of a century. It's a quarter of a dollar. It's a quarter of a working life. It's a quarter of a lot of things in life. But for these folks to have stayed with the city for 25 years is not just a statement of the commitment they have to their service, but a commitment they have to a specific organization. Tom Anderson, come down and be recognized.
Thank you, sir.
Jonathan Crazy Bear is one of the battalion chiefs. Jonathan is not with us this evening. I believe he's on duty. Terry Cruz. Floyd Henderson works over in the Public Works area. Robert Kinsey, come down and be recognized. Thank you for your service.
Yes, sir. This is not Robert, this is Sheldon. Sir, congratulations.
Michael LaQuarrie, come down and be recognized. Thank you for what you've done. When you ride around the city, every city employee and their group make a difference. Whether it's police and fire, whether it's sanitation, whether it's parks and recreation, whether it's streets. Michael and his crews are out there in one of the most visible capacities every day. They see that the main corridors get mowed, that the landscaping is properly maintained, and that the litter is collected. I'll give you just a quick sidebar. This past Friday afternoon, Councilmember Warden, who is the handsome gentleman there wearing the NC State colors, Don't tell him. Those look more like Georgia Tech colors, but we won't let him know. Councilmember Warden called late in the afternoon and said somebody's garbage fell off their truck, not a city truck, and it has strewn all over 24. Within 30 minutes, Michael LaQuarrie had a crew out there picking that garbage up. Why? Because that's the image of this city that you as city employees represent. That's the image that the mayor and council hold as the standard. So, Michael, please extend to your crews our appreciation. Also, Tim Malfitano, Deputy Chief. Well done.
Bread wasn't sliced 25 years ago.
Now, Tim said bread wasn't sliced 25 years ago. What we do know is that 25 years ago, the city was very fortunate to have a young person who put on the blue and decided to give his life in public service. And we appreciate what you do every day. So thank you. Jeff Williams, is he with us this evening? Okay, 25 years ago, Mr. Thomas, I'll give you a hint. It's less than $1. How much did a gallon of gas cost?
88 cents.
88 cents. Only missed it by 3 pennies. It was 91 cents, so he's good. Now, some of you who are West Coast fans have seen the miracle that's happening in one of the cities out there. They just won their first playoff series. So who won the World Series in 1988?
Dodgers.
The Dodgers. All right. Also, you remember that something called the Hubble Space Telescope? It was put up into orbit in 1988. It's hard to believe. And ever since then, it's been looking down on you and me. So make sure that you make your bed every night and do what you're supposed to do, okay? Also, the first U.S. stealth bomber was unveiled. The thing was, it was so stealth, nobody knew when they unveiled it, okay? 25 years ago. Tim, Give me one thing out of your career in 25 years you're the proudest of.
To serve the city.
Michael?
Cleaning the ring, making the city look better. I'm well proud of that. The difference we've made.
Now, Mayor, should I ask him as Robert or Shelton?
He might not ask you as Robert Sheldon, I think.
Sheldon, what are you the proudest of?
Just being hired.
And still hired. That's good. That's good. Tom?
The Rails Trails Project.
Great. Well, again, thank you for the service. I'm going to ask you all to take a picture and then stand back up here while we recognize the last person. So if y'all would have a group picture, please. No, y'all just stay up here. Yep. That's good. I appreciate that. In the 30-year category, we have one employee that we're recognizing this evening. This person I have gotten to know through many city activities and working on work orders. Tina Rhodes, step forward and be recognized. 30 years ago, Tina graduated from high school, and she took her Nash Rambler to the filling station. Mr. Thomas was there as a high school student, and he pumped gas for her and also wiped her windshield. That was back in the days when you got that type of service. And he remembers how much gas was.
71 cents.
71 cents. Got it. All right. Way to go. Also, out of the World Series, Mr. Malfitano.
1971. 69 was the Mets. 71.
No, this is 83.
83. Can I call on a 83?
Let's just put it this way. They're one of the bird teams in the American Legion. Orioles. Baltimore Orioles won the World Series. On a sad note, later this month, we'll be celebrating the beginning of the war on terrorism. It was 30 years ago this year that we had the attack at Beirut. On a positive note, the first mobile phone was introduced by Motorola. Wow. Now, I want to ask you folks, how many in here still have a landline at home? If you do, raise your hand. Wow. Y'all are old age. You should be in the new age. Get a wireless phone, folks. Okay? Sally Ride became the first American woman in space when she rode on the Challenger. The U.S. Space Shuttle Challenger was launched on its maiden flight with her. And Barney Clark was the first person to receive an artificial heart. Remember Barney? Some of you do. Tina, we will always remember the service that you have given. We will always appreciate the example that you set for each of us every day. When you think about 30 years of getting up and going to work day after day after day, it's because... Well, you didn't have to act like that, Tina. That's it. She's ready to go back to bed right now. So, but 30 years of service, it's pretty amazing what you have seen. What's more amazing, though, is how much we appreciate what you have done, because you have made all of us feel better about being a city employee. Every time I see you, you have a smile on your face. Or at least you did until I said day after day after day. But again, thank you very much for your service.
All right, thank you so much.
In the center.
Thank you all very much. Mayor, would you like to make some closing remarks?
I would like to thank everyone who's come out tonight to honor our employees. You know, one of the things that make Jacksonville a great place to live, work, are the people that actually work for the city of Jacksonville. You are the city of Jacksonville. You make it. You are the ones that deliver the service to the people that live here, and you do such a great job, fine job. And it's just very rewarding to be able to stand up here and see some of these folks that have stuck it out over the years and have been loyal to this city and have served with such pride and such spirit. And I want to thank all the families that have come out in support of these employees tonight. And I know that you're going to have some refreshments out in the hallway. But again, there's nothing that pleases me more than to be able to honor you as the employees of this city. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming. Please join us in the foyer for a reception. Thank you.